Right, so today we're speaking about a burning dumpster fire that is Hypnotist Sappho. So if you're somehow caught under a rock, Hypnotist Sappho is a hypnosis YouTuber who, without cause or without reason, came out as a zoophile. Now, this has had a knock-on effect on bringing the name of the fandom down, and I want to let it be known that the fandom and the people within it do not stand for any of these monsters. If someone comes out like this in the fandom as this disgusting archetype and this mental illness, they are shunned harder than anyone else. Because they fully should be shunned. This is not a sexuality, and nor is it an okay thing to do in any sense of the word. This is much like a paedophile or a necrophile. It is a perversion and it's mental illness. It's used as because Sappho in her life most likely went through some sort of traumatic event. Due to this loss of power, they take it out on animals, presenting it as love when it's not. But we're going to take a look at the original coming out video. Before the video starts, I want to preface and mention, she does mention one of the dirtiest podcasts alive in this video, but instead of that podcast, go watch the Top Bands Cast, a live podcast every Friday at midnight at GMT. I may be on there sometimes if people stop complaining about my conduct.
Hey! Hey! Have a fucking word within that rat!
But without that self-plug, let's get into the video.
I wanted to make a video about coming out. Coming out with anything can be...
I am so sorry. This bitch talks way too slow. Let me speed it up to the good parts.
When homosexuals were coming out in the 1960s, during Stonewall and those sorts of events. And I know that 99% of my viewers, my community, you don't have anything wrong with homosexuals or gay people. You support them, you support LGBT, nothing against them. But I guarantee that many of you, even if you can't imagine it now, if you were growing up in the 1960s and were being fed all of the news and social propaganda about how gay people should stay in the closet, how it's unnatural and against nature and all sorts of crazy shit like that, a lot of you would probably be anti-gay, anti-LGBT.
Okay, so I have a huge fucking problem with this. So she mentions a lot of LGBT victories in history, Stonewall being one of them. Stonewall was when LGBT people rioted due to a police crackdown on homosexuality in New York. These people fought and died for their right to exist. You didn't, Sappho. You just cry on Twitter, which we'll be reading later, but this is a common approach by Zoophiles to rationalise and normalise, making it seem like we're fighting for those same people when they're really not. And as for propaganda against Zoophile, it's not propaganda if it's objectively true. See, the difference is homosexuality cannot be helped. It's someone within their own species being attracted to someone else of the same gender. You forcefully assault dogs and call it love. But let's continue.
And to be 100% clear, I am not like that. Most of the zoo community is also not like that and utterly despises it. People who force animals into situations they don't want, physically and through other means, are completely deplorable and seen as rapists. Playing with an animal that is not sexually mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia, and it's treated as such. I do not support those people, and they do not deserve the same title. They're fetishists and bestialists. I do not want them to be the face of the community, and they should not be the face of the community. It's like literal Nazis considering themselves furries in the fandom. You don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want that image.
Right, let's get one thing straight. What you do to animals, your community as a whole, is vile. Whether or not the animal is sexually mature, forcing them into sexual situations and labelling it as love is an actual hostage crisis. What you're doing is very disgusting, and what she's attempting to do here is to find a common enemy. See, Sappho, we don't want you at all. We don't want those Nazis, and we don't want you either. Ethical zoos do not exist. You cannot look me in the eyes and expect me to be okay with someone telling me, oh yeah, I fucked my dog. They cannot consent. They can't look at you and go, yes, I want this. Zoophilia is the result of many mental illnesses. See, there's something called intrusive thoughts. These can range from homicidal, suicidal, or in some case, sexual natures. And the difference between normal human beings and you, Sappho, is that people like me and many billions of others can recognize that these impulsive and intrusive thoughts are wrong. I experience a lot of intrusive suicidal thoughts. While I know they're wrong, they stick in my head, but you can't, I would not take and run with that. You take these thoughts and you run with it. But see, there's the difference.
To be what people think about. Ethical zoos are not like that. Zoophiles are among the most caring and loving people towards animals and their mates. We see animals as equals to humans, not as property or an object like in the eyes of the law and others. Specifically, I and other ethical zoos follow what's called Zeta principles.
You guys don't care about animals, let's just be straight here. I stand for the Lambda principles. That means, stop! Gordon! Stop!
Stop! Hello, Gordon. Stop!
So fucking stop.
As understandable. I can understand the point of view that others have about my views. The biggest argument, of course, that comes up is about consent and what is that like, right? And they want to compare like apples to oranges. They want to compare a grown, adult, sexually mature animal to like a toddler, basically. Comparing apples to oranges. And in my opinion, it's a bad faith argument. I don't think you can compare a sexually mature animal to a not sexually mature human.
Sappho, they don't actually have the brain capacity to understand, you dumb fucking idiot. I'm actually bemused and interested on how one human being can be so utterly stupid. Animals don't have the same brain capacity or knowledge to understand consent on a human level. What do you walk up to a German Shepherd and go, hey, I want you to blow my back out, and they say rough in response and you go, ooh, yes please. That's not consent, Sappho, that's a charge. She then does a weird podcast style questions and answers with another sexual predator, but let's take a look at the Twitter fight she and Coyote got into over the weekend. So after Coyote Lovely's video came out a few days ago, we seen a general disconnect between Sappho and reality. Sappho initiated the war when she stated this: Coyote acts like a smug little prick, it's almost insufferable, but at the same time I'm kinda into degradation, and them saying that I have a small empty head is kinda hot. Confusing feelings. Still, fuck them and maybe me? I think I just need a hug. Shut up. Shut up. This then spiraled into 30 different tweets of Coyotes and their community clowning on Sappho. The thing is that completely baffles me is there was no need for Sappho to ever come out about this. You could have gotten help and you could have fixed this. What I'm used to is someone finding out in the background and then the artist is forced to come out and jump out ahead of this in order then leading them to out themselves in Dogsmith style. But this was just premeditated, full through self-destruction of a career. In conclusion, you're a disgusting person and you've only proved it more, and the clout that you mention will eventually disappear. Maybe you can do some hypnotizing your parents to like you again after this, but like, till next time, I'll see you guys later.